Go Bike listeners. This is AKA Murph, and today I'm talking to Troy Carter about his experience doing Ride the Rockies, which is a week-long ride in Colorado that happens the beginning of June each year. So he's already done this. This route is different each year, similar to RAGBRAI, but includes some big old mountain passes and intense elevation. So, hey, Troy, and welcome.
Hello.
So, listeners may not know, but Troy is also my coworker, and he is the Safe Routes to School coordinator. So we get to spend lots of time together here at Iowa Bike Coalition.
Every day.
Quality time, right?
Quality time, yes. Good quality time.
So I'm really curious to learn more about Ride the Rockies. It's a ride that I've never done. I don't think it's a race, but let's get into it. So, give us your take on what Ride the Rockies is.
Okay. Well, to start off, Ride the Rockies is a 6-day tour. So over 6 days, we encompassed 418 plus miles. There was a little optional loop, which I did not opt in for as a flatlander from Iowa. But we did about 26,000 feet of climb over those 6 days.
2,600?
26,000. They have big hills out in Colorado.
My gosh, that's a lot of elevation.
Yeah, I think the most elevation we did in one day was 6,800 feet in one day.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that was quite the day. But so over 6 days, we kind of went on the interior of Colorado this year. So we hit the towns of Breckenridge, Vail, Edwards, Steamboat Springs, Grand Lake, and Winter Park.
Those sound like a lot of skiing towns. So did you get your skis out at all?
I did not get my skis out at all. But, every day, actually, we saw snow on the ride. It was nice. At the top of the mountain passes, it was pretty cool up there.
Sure.
There was still some snow on the ground, and there were even a couple of snowball fights that broke out throughout the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of fun.
And you had mentioned before we started recording, and maybe you'll get into this later, but literally your temperature range each day was like a 50-degree swing, wasn't it?
Right. So we did tent camp, and so every morning when you woke up, the temperature was low 40s, maybe the upper 30s, and then by 11 or noon every day, the temperature was in the 80s. There were a couple of days that got up into the 90s. So.
Oh my gosh! So you've got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, you have to be dressed in layers and be ready to strip off and cool down a little bit. So.
Yeah. I don't recall if you said or not, but about how many people do this ride?
This year, I think they had about 1,800 people altogether. I think they do cap it at 2,000, so there might have been 2,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was probably the number.
Okay. And I've been to Colorado before, but the route that you were on, how would you describe the terrain and the scenery?
The scenery was amazing. As a flatlander from Iowa, the mountains are awe-inspiring and just beautiful every chance you get to see them.
Yeah.
Or for myself, so I would just describe the scenery more as just mountains and valleys. It was amazing. The roads were near perfect condition almost all week long. That we rode on a lot of fresh blacktop, which was great. We even had a nice little 13-mile dirt/gravel section on the last day, which was intentional, and it was neat to go over the very last pass on gravel. So,
and the roads were open to vehicles, right?
Correct. Just like RAGBRAI, roads are open to general traffic all the time. They're out in Colorado. I think they're required to have a police escort, kind of. So there were state troopers everywhere, just like there is on RAGBRAI, and there were ambulance as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah.
So an important question for most people that do RAGBRAI. Let's talk about the food.
Food is a little different out on Ride the Rockies. In Iowa, we have some great hospitality, and almost every town kind of rolls out the red carpet for us. Ride the Rockies was a different beast. It's interesting how they set up aid stations every 12 to 15 miles, and those aid stations are fully stocked with, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and bananas and all your sorts of energy shots and chews, all that stuff you'd need, along with Gatorade and things. Maybe once or twice a day you'd run into a food vendor along the route, but other than that, it was a ride-supported kind of day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were you passing through towns where you would have the opportunity to grab lunch if you wanted it?
There were towns that we passed through, 5 or 6 towns a day, almost like RAGBRAI, not as many. But they were smaller towns.
Okay.
So out in the mountains, things tend to be a little smaller. So if you run into a gas station, they may not have much other than just gas.
Maybe if you need oil.
Right.
Anyway. But it sounds like the rest stops were was stocked well enough that you weren't hungry all day.
Absolutely, yeah. There was plenty of calories available at the aid stations and things like that. It was probably one of the most well supported rides that I've ever been on.
Oh, nice, good. Yeah. Well, that leads into my next question, and we've mentioned RAGBRAI a couple times, but compare Ride the Rockies to other group rides that you maybe participate in.
So Ride the Rockies was basically my first tour outside of RAGBRAI.
Oh, okay.
So, but not my first what I call kind of challenge rides. I've done things like triple bypass and horribly hilly hundreds and things like that, and they're very equivalent to those types of rides. There's quite a few of serious riders that have one goal, and that's to finish and in a certain amount of time. And I'm more of a laid back kind of guy, but I do like to challenge myself sometimes. That's why I ended up on Ride the Rockies. So.
Excellent. What do you enjoy most about being on a bicycle?
Making friends. Friendship.
Yeah.
I'm very much a social rider. I like to go from place to place with my buddies and hang out and enjoy our time on bikes.
Yeah.
So
you're a recreational rider, but then obviously Ride the Rockies was a extra challenge for you.
Right, yeah. I'm definitely a recreational rider, but like I said, I do like to challenge myself once in a while. So once a year, I try to do something a little larger. So.
Yeah. Well, just off the top of your head, if someone was thinking about doing Ride the Rockies, what would you tell them, or what would you say?
My biggest suggestion would be just train. Get lots of miles on your legs. Mm-hmm. The more you have, the more enjoyable the ride will be. It is a difference being out there in elevation and going up those long climbs, but it's definitely worth it if you put in the time.
In 26,000 feet of climb, we all understand what a hill is or what a mountain is, but for me, I have a huge fear of going down those same hills. Like, once my bike starts going over 35 miles an hour, I am locking up all my muscles, and I'm using those brakes, and I don't know if you had any experience.
I did. I actually had a new maximum speed on Ride the Rockies, so my maximum speed now is 53 miles an hour.
53? Gosh, I hope your wife's not listening to this.
Hopefully not. But so that was the fastest I've ever gone on my bike, and it definitely made me slow down as soon as I saw that, because not much good can come of that.
See, I feel bad about 35 miles an hour, and here you are going 53.
It was great.
Wow. Yeah, hills are great. Going on an even path, no hills, no elevation either way, sometimes can be. You never stop pedaling,
right.
So
it's
you
a challenge.
That's its own challenge, but. Elevation, when you go up, you got to come back down.
Yeah.
Or opposite.
I enjoy the descent, I guess. If you work hard going up, you should enjoy the downhill.
Yeah. Well, in day-to-day life, what kind of bike riding do you enjoy?
Day-to-day life, I do commute back and forth to work as often as I can. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I do just hop on my either road bike or fat bike and cruise around town.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then the magic question we ask everybody on this podcast, favorite pie.
I've put a lot of thought into this, and the best pie that I can remember ever having on RAGBRAI was made by this wonderful Amish lady, and it was blueberry pie. So my answer is going to have to be Amish blueberry.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Well, we did a pre-ride a couple weeks back, and I got to taste probably, I don't know if I should say a dozen different pies, but there are a lot of pies available, and I hope so much that RAGBRAI will be full of pie again, because there were some good ones, but my new favorite might be peach. It was really good. But anyway, well, Troy, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I did look it up. RideTheRockies.com is where you can find out more about the ride. It won't be again until next June, but it sounds like a ride definitely worth looking into.
Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
You spoke those cows? I knew that. carry. Yeah, great.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Put it this way. I look at people like you and it's like,
Yeah, I know, I've always been skinny.
and see, I have
Good shot.